at least in terms of time in the ring, he's an old 28, Emmanuel.
Yes,
that's about to look
he
at.
turned
Let's
professional
look
when
at
he's 15 too. And that's no good. When you turn professional like that, you may win fights, but your bones and are not really strong enough, and every punch you get hit with has a much more effect on you than it would when you're maybe 20 years old.
Dr. Margaret Goodman ruled that it was not a serious cut. So they can go back to not hitting each other again.
I don't know what Miguel Diaz is using on the cut of Adams, but it seems like it's using something that's not being effective in coagulating the bleeding, which is unusual for him.
Nice uppercut on the inside by Adams.
You talk about everything Adams has been through in the ring and the turning pro at 15 part, Emmanuel. He fought the great Orlando Canizales when he was only 18 years old.
And his body was not ready for that. Even if his skills were there, his body was not prepared for that. And punches have much more lasting effect on hitting a young kid than they do with a strong man.
Adams landed a left hook, but he was back on his heels. It had no power.
Having a better round here.
We're slogging through this preliminary between Bones Adams and Guti Espadas, trying to get to the main event, which matches Paulie Ayala of Fort Worth, Texas. 34 wins, 1 loss, against Eric Morales of Tijuana. 41 wins, 1 loss, and that loss a controversial decision, although at least 2 of the wins were controversial decisions as well. And let's go to Bones Adams' corner and watch Miguel Diaz work that cut.
Deep breath. Come on, Bone. Don't raise up, slide to him. Stay low and crack. He don't want it in there, man.
Barnes, you gotta go there and
Come on, man.
him out,
You gotta knock him out, man. Let's go, man.
let's keep going a little bit more like that.
Adams' corner telling the fighter that he needs a knockout to win the fight. That surprised you, Emmanuel?
Yes, it is surprising. And what's even more surprising is the fact that it hasn't been effective. Adams is very relaxed. He seems to be content to lay back and counterpunch.
Total CompuBox numbers through 9. Adams 104 out of 452, 23%. Espadas 141 out of 501, 28%. So Espadas has thrown more, landed at a higher connect percentage. Doesn't always mean that he's ahead on the scorecards or is going to win the fight. Espadas also with a 77-63 edge in power connects, according to CompuBox. Harold, how do you see it through 9?
Okay, Jim, 86-85. 5 rounds to 4, Guti Espadas. Jim, let's talk about the rules. What's going to happen here? That cut was caused by an accidental headbutt in round 8. If Guti Espadas makes that cut worse and the referee stops the fight, we go to the scorecards to determine the winner. If the fight is stopped in the middle of a round, you score the partial round. So, anyway, 5 rounds to 4, Guti Espadas.
Harold and I are still separated by that 1 round that I called even.
Which means that the fight is close.
Well, it means that Adams doesn't have to score a knockout on our cards to win the fight, but he has to definitely win 2 of the last 3 rounds.
Emmanuel, Bones Adams' corner told him he needs a knockout to win the fight. Given everything that's happened up to this point, what would be his best chance of getting that knockout? What should he do?
Well, I think he's got to throw punches. That's simply he's not punching enough. He hasn't probably thrown any straight right hands at all tonight to the head. And his best punch, which was his left hook, he hasn't even thrown them too much. Everything is more of a hooking motion.
Tony Weeks is going to call that a slip because Bones Adams' foot was on the top of Guti Espadas' foot.
But the blood is not stopped flowing from Adams, and it's bothering him, I believe. Guti Espadas' entire attack is based on trying to land that straight right hand. He's not concentrating on body punching, on left hooks, or anything. Finally focusing on trying to land that straight right hand 2 or 3 times around if he can to win the rounds.
Is it safe to say that both fighters have fought themselves out of the contender picture in the featherweight division?
In my opinion, yes.
And if Bones Adams isn't shot, is he at least so diminished that it's mostly about the money now?
Well, he doesn't have that spark that I was expecting, especially after he was just in good shape in the story he gave us of why he didn't look so good in the last fight with Ayala. I thought he would have a lot more spirit this fight than he's shown. And maybe turning professional at 15 has had his effect, plus having about 200 amateur fights.
That's 13 years as a professional after 200 amateur fights as a baby. I mean, between 12 and 15.
And now it's Espadas, who apparently has suffered some damage from a butt.
And Margaret Goodwin takes a look at Espadas and says, you keep fighting too. Ruled accidental, we're told.
They haven't knocked each other on their butts, but they have butted each other.
Hey, there's the best 9 seconds of the fight. Let's see that again in replay. Let's see it over and over. That was the best 9 seconds in the whole fight.
That's what happens when you see blood.
I'm cracking this guy. Come on, son. Come on, we got to beat him down these next ones, man. Okay? Better, that's better, okay? Let's do this again. More consistency, though, okay? Come on, son.
I need you to work the right hand. Hit him on the right side. It's cut. Don't lower your hand. Work him. He's right there.
Let's take a look and see the slip. It was ruled a slip. It wasn't a clear punch that knocked him down, but it had nothing to do with the feet, Emmanuel.
Yes, it was just a cross-up of the feet.
I think it did have to do with the feet, but I'm just guessing.
Well, I agree that that his feet were crossed, but whose fault is that? He still went down from being hit with a light blow.
But I think it's because the feet were crossed that Tony Weeks ruled the way he did, and that was the point I was trying to make.
Agreed.
In the 10th round, Bones Adams landed 17 out of 61 against 17 out of 54 for Espadas. So in other words, there was little to choose statistically between the two fighters in the 10th round, although by CompuBox numbers, Adams had a 15-9 edge in power shots.
You know, our conversation is in inverse proportion.
And this also will not be ruled a knockdown.
To the action in the ring, which means we've been talking too much because the fight hasn't been interesting.
Yes, but of course, everything we say, Larry, is breathtakingly interesting, okay? And don't forget it.
I think we're trying to entertain ourselves. Keep us awake.
Which is good for mankind.
Come on, hands free, hands free. Hands free, hands free, hands free.
We were going to have wrestlers on the card tonight. They were going to try boxing. Now we have boxers who are wrestling. Nice right uppercut by Espadas. Well, nice by comparison to all the other stuff, anyway.
Anything punches are nice.
Anything that actually lands on the target.
Oh, come on, come on.
You know, they are two old pros who are trying their best, and we have to give them that. They look like they've certainly been in a hard, grueling fight because of the butts.
Is that two old pros as in TWO or TOO?
Maybe a little of both, although they're only 28 years old.
Which can be old in the ring.
You're doing well. Don't forget, don't be confident, too confident. You're working well. You're doing fine. Get some air. Strong. You gotta finish strong. You gotta finish this round. Don't be.
Come on. Deep breath, deep breath. Last round, Bone. Shorten your shots up. Use your shoulder, get your weight behind his punch. Let's hurt this guy, man. Or get him up out of here.
Man.
One of the two, son. Come on, man.
You gotta give it everything. You gotta give it everything.
From the reaction of the two corners, Espada's corner thinks he's won the fight, and so does Adams' corner.
Well, they both got a round to go, so we'll see. Harold, how do you have it?
Okay, Jim. 105, 104, 6 rounds to 5.